I might have just solved the books and gave an explanation to why the books are seemingly in a different story than the games. I genuinely now think that the books and the games are in the exact same universe, like down to a T. So let's start off with our first book, Into the Pit. Now, Into the Pit's time travel, I can't explain. I can't explain that. I think it's just another weird thing that we just need to accept as canon to FNAF. But I think I can explain Spring Bonnie and why Spring Bonnie is a literal monster rather than the figurative monster that we see in the game story, William Afton. I think that the reason that in the books we see Spring Bonnie as an actual monster rather than a figurative monster is because we're looking through the eyes of a child. See, in the games, we're looking through more mature eyes. We're looking through the eyes of somebody who knows that the masked killer bunny is a human. So we obviously know that William Afton is behind the mask. But as a kid who has not heard of Freddy's ever, like never, like Oswald is completely oblivious to the fact that Freddy's exists, and he just knows it as Jeff's Pizza. Obviously, we wouldn't know about the murders that happened at this place. Hence why we are literally seeing it as it plays out, and Oswald is super duper surprised and horrified. But let's ignore that fact. Let's talk about the killer bunny himself. As a kid, you're not gonna instantly think that, oh, this killer mascot bunny or this killer bunny is going around murdering people because there's a human behind them. You're gonna instantly think that it's an actual living monster. And that's why, through Oswald's eyes, you see a living monster. When I think in reality, it's actually a human, but since we're seeing it through the eyes of a child, we start seeing William Afton as more like an alien type creature. Now, here's where stuff gets complicated that I don't think anybody's ever thought about. Why does Oswald's dad turn into the killer bunny? Well, I think the killer bunny is our father. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's just insane, because it's confirmed that William Afton. Well, what if this is... Because in the books are not 100% canon, right? So what if this time the killer bunny... This is like a... kind of like an Edwin and Henry situation, where Edwin is a parallel to Henry, and Oswald's dad is a parallel to William Afton. Because don't you think it's kind of funny that we have a family, right? In a Spring Bonnie story, we have a family, and your dad, of all people, turns into the Spring Bonnie thing. So what I think is that our little kid's psychosis is playing tricks on us, because we still see the killer bunny as a monster, but then we find out that our dad is the killer bunny, and then we start seeing our dad as the killer bunny and nothing else. I don't really think that this book is telling us a story about a killer bunny actually taking over a father. I think we're seeing a story where our character knows our dad's secret, that our dad is the secret murderer. Now, this is where where my story gets complicated, because it's like, after you find out that your dad is the killer bunny, you still see the killer bunny as a monster, when you would have known that, then you would have started seeing your father underneath the mask. Well, I think that this serves as doubt. I think that us still seeing the Spring Bonnie as a actual living monster rather than a human inside of a costume is us doubting. We don't want to believe that our dad would do these horrific actions. And if this is the actual writing behind Into the Pit, Scott Cawthon is more of a genius than we gave him credit for. Now, for the rest of the book series, I actually have not read the third book. I still have to read the Ella series, where it's like this girl is in an apartment and buys an alarm clock. I still have to read those books, but I have read the second book series. I have read the second book series, which is The Fetch, Lonely Freddy, and yeah, the second series of books is a little bit harder to explain because obviously, later on in the book series, it's a little bit harder to explain like how this would fit into the series, rather than being just experiments that William Afton has tested, because we know that William Afton is an experiment hungry person. Now, for the second series the second story in the first book is To Be Beautiful. Now, this one's a little bit interesting because it's pretty on paper what it is. It's the story after this is the story after the events of Sister Location. There's not really any twists and turns to this one. I think it's just pretty straightforward. What To Be Beautiful is about. It's literally about Baby becoming human. Like, you can't really chalk it up to that being a different story than what's in the game. I think that this is a parallel to what happened to Elizabeth. I don't think that this actually happened in the games, but I think it's a parallel, because in the games, Elizabeth is entering Baby, but in this series, Baby, or Eleanor, is entering Elizabeth. So it's a parallel, telling the same exact story. So in the books, not Millie, what's her name again? Sarah. Sarah is a parallel to Elizabeth. And it's like a swip swap between. It's telling the same story, just in a different way. You know what I mean? So Sarah, aka Elizabeth, does possess Baby. So yeah. So that's that. And then the final one, which is Count the Ways, probably my favorite one out of the original books. Count the Ways is pretty, again, straightforward. I do think your grandpa is William Afton, or Henry. No, I think your grandpa is a parallel to Henry in this series. Or maybe not. No, maybe William Afton fits better. But this is a more laid back William Afton. This is a more sane William Afton. There's not really much to say about this book. We literally see the animatronics as they are through Millie, because Millie is a teenager at this point. So, yeah. There's not really much to say about the other ones, but I mainly wanted to make this video more about Into the Pit rather than, rather than actually the other books, but we will get into we might tackle the second book at some point. I don't know when, but this was just a little whim. This was just a little thing I thought about. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is not confirmed. This is just a theory about explaining how the books would be canon to the games, because I think having them separate makes it more messy rather than like trying to explain away everything. I don't know, but I hope you guys think. I hope this makes you think more about the books being canon to the games. I know that Scott said that the books are not canon to the games, but you know, sometimes stuff changes, you know? So I don't know, just keep thinking about it. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Tell me what your thoughts are about this theory. But yeah, I'll see you guys later.